Transporting persons with disabilities. This training DVD focuses on the implementation of the mission of the National Council for Persons with Physical Disabilities in South Africa. The mission is to serve as a proactive forum for the advancement of persons with physical disabilities, to enable them to attain their maximum level of independence and integration into the community, and the prevention of the occurrence of physical disablement. Our vision at the National Council is a society in which people with physical disabilities are enabled to exercise their full right as citizens. The incidence of physical disabilities is also minimized. Welcome to this training session. This DVD was made possible by the National Council for Persons with Physical Disabilities in South Africa. If people have no access to the transport system in this country, there is no equity. This training enables the trainee to acquire the practical skills needed for transporting people with various disabilities. The focus is on safety, dignity, and comfort, while doing it in the most practical way. We will have a thorough look at the role of the operator assisting a person with a physical disability. Let's start with a profile of a vehicle driver transporting our people. First of all, the driver should be healthy and have a good personal hygiene, polite in interacting with people, have good people skills, and allow his or her passengers their personal space. Even during transport, the driver should inquire about the needs and comfort of passengers with disabilities. Drivers must know how to assist persons with disabilities to get into various types of vehicles with comfort, safety, and dignity. Some vehicles are fitted with special hoists and others are fitted with ramps. These vehicles also have safety mechanisms, restraints, such as safety belts and floor brackets. Some vehicles, however, are not adapted at all, and the driver must still know how to assist the passenger in and out. A driver of a transport vehicle needs to ensure safe seating of the passenger inside the vehicle. This could imply some minor physical contact with that person. Before doing so, the driver should inform the person what he or she intends doing and determines whether the person would be comfortable. Take care not to disrupt the person in the wheelchair's hairdo when pulling the straps over their bodies. With a little practice, you will find ways to reduce physical contact with a person as much as possible. Let's now have a brief look at various brands, styles, and models of wheelchairs. After the person has been assisted to get into the vehicle, the driver should position the wheelchair facing straight forward and not sideways, unless the vehicle is otherwise designed. Ensure the brakes are on and that the safety belts and restraints are fastened. Ensure the power of motorized wheelchairs is turned off. While handling the wheelchair in the vehicle, one should look out for the appropriate attachment points on the chair. The best points would be on the rigid frame and near the level of the seat if possible. Once a good solid frame point has been found, the driver might mark the spot for future reference with permission of owner, especially for wheelchairs that one has to transport on a daily basis. Once all securement belts have been attached, unlock the wheel locks and try to move the chair forward and backward. This movement will take up any excess belt slack. After having done that, relock the wheel locks. A driver should take extra care when driving people with physical disabilities and ensure that the wheelchair is fastened to the vehicle. Many wheelchair users sit in their wheelchairs when riding in transport vehicles. This might happen because they have little or no ability to be transferred out of the chair and into a conventional vehicle seat. A number of safety issues arise when a wheelchair is used as a seat in a moving vehicle. Never leave a person in a closed vehicle in the hot sun. Care attendants, helpers, should sit in the back of the vehicle to take care of a person with a disability and not in the front and talking to the driver. Okay, now we are ready to take off. Driver should take care to take off very slowly. When approaching a traffic light, intersection or stop sign, slow down speed long in advance. Take all corners as wide as possible to avoid tilting of wheelchairs inside the vehicle. Speed bumps should also be approached with the utmost care. Drive straight so that the two front wheels go over the bump together, not sideways. A driver should be sensitive to the sounds in the vehicle. a radio or music should be the preference of the passengers because they are the clients, and not that of the driver or helper. Excessive noise in the vehicle may also disturb communication between the driver and the person with a disability. Furthermore, the passengers should also have the choice in whether windows should be open or closed and aircons on or off. Once the driver arrives at the desired destination, he or she should search for the best place for the passengers in wheelchairs to disembark the vehicle, even if it means not using parking spots marked for persons with disabilities. Accessible parking spaces should at least be provided in the ratio of 1 accessible parking space for every 50 spaces. In other words, 1 in 50. This is an image of a proper parking space for persons with disabilities. A driver should also ask the person whether he or she requires to be assisted to go into the building, and if necessary, the driver should accompany such a person. There should also be a section where a person with a disability, wheelchair user, assisted to get into a bus or combi which is not accessible at all, for example a Translux bus. 1. Fold manual wheelchair.
What I have here is a folding wheelchair, which is probably the most popular wheelchair around. It's only, I'd say about 10% of the chairs we find are rigid frames, but this is a folding wheelchair. As you see underneath, it has the cross frame, which enables the chair to fold sideways. So what you would do, the baggage handler would do, is you'd remove the cushion. Once again, you make sure that the cushion goes with you, or it's firmly attached to the wheelchair so it can't be separated. You then explain to the baggage handler that in order to fold the chair, what you do is you flip up the footrest, like so. And then you would, grabbing the seat in the front and the back, you lift upwards, and you would then fold it like so.
2. It is not recommended that a motorized wheelchair should be taken apart.
This is a good example of a powered wheelchair, or some people like to call it an electric wheelchair. It obviously has very expensive electric components on it. So this has the potential to be damaged even more than manual wheelchairs because of the fact that it has 2 motors, 2 batteries, a joystick and a control box, which is the brain of the wheelchair, which, as you can see, is located underneath the seat and has all the plugs plugging into it. It is possible to remove the batteries from the wheelchair, but I wouldn't advise it because the more you take off the chair, the more chance there is that they become separated or damaged from your wheelchair. So do not advise people to remove the batteries.
Wheelchair in sedan motor. 1. 2 persons lift the quadriplegic person into the sedan motor. 2. 1 person assists a person with a disability like osteoarthritis who can transfer into the car. The driver must walk with the person to the allocated vehicle. If the person needs to be fetched from a meeting, etc., arrangements must be made that the driver will meet the person at the same place where he or she were dropped off. Should the driver not be able to fetch the person on a specific time as arranged, the person must be contacted to be informed when he or she will be fetched. The driver should have pen and paper ready when transporting persons with hearing loss to enable the client driver to write notes on the paper. If the driver can't find parking at the same place where the person was dropped off, he/she must be SMS'd. Blind people may have special needs. Although he or she can make use of any vehicle, the utmost care and assistance should be given to that person, dignity and ensuring a comfortable journey. If the person uses a white cane, the driver should lead him or her by giving your elbow for the blind person to hold onto. The driver then walks to the car with the blind person. The person's hand then is placed on the top of the door of the vehicle, so the blind person can orientate himself in respect to where to get into the vehicle. If the blind person has a guide dog, he or she will normally find their own way through the building, if it is a building where the person goes on a regular basis. If the driver has to assist in this case, the blind person should hold onto the arm above the elbow of the person leading, and the driver must walk into the building, talking to the blind person to explain the surroundings. The blind person must then be introduced to the person with whom they have the appointment. Thank you for watching this training DVD. And remember, your compassion, alertness, and a great attitude will determine the quality and success of your transportation work.